Morning, friends. It's Nancy, and I have another completed journal that I want to share with you this morning. So, the theme of this journal is language and letters. So, what I had in mind when I made this journal was that it would be used by someone who likes to journal, or perhaps a correspondence journal, or a book journal. So there's the theme of writing and reading and letters is definitely going to occur on every page. So let's just get started. So this book is, I didn't measure it, just a little better than 6 by 9.5. So it's a large book. About 3.5 centimeters across, so it's about 1.5 inches. There is 4 signatures in it, and it's a hidden hollow back spine. I've kept the original book intact and just reinforced it. I used some vintage linen here, and some vintage hand crocheted lace, some cheesecloth, and for the interior pages I used book page from, oh gosh, can't remember what that book was, but it shows a lot of people reading. So here's a man on horseback reading, here's a kid fishing and reading, these people up in the balloon are reading, there's even a guy up in the roof reading, guy in a hammock, and on the back we've got even more people reading. So on the first page, this is tea-dyed paper, and I've used a vintage stencil to stencil on some letters. And in the front, this is a postcard that so this is the day of issue in 1974. And that's oh my gosh, that's 45 years. And this double envelope here, or double tuck spot here, is made from book page. And this is a postcard that I've turned into a little tag. And this is postmarked 1964. There is a ton of genuine ephemera in here. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll show you some of that ephemera right now. So this teeny tiny little letter, what is it? 4 inches by 2.5 inches. And this is a little letter written in 1922 from a little girl named Ruthie to her Uncle James. And it says, "Dear Uncle James, I'm sorry you are sick. Billy can walk all over. He walked first to me. He learned to walk with my doll's carriage. Today he went upstairs. Mother heard grunting and could not find him. There he was, up in her bedroom. It is a wonder he did not fall down and break his neck. He likes to play hide and go seek with me, with the girls." And then there's a whole bunch of XOXOXO. You're not sure what that says, Ruth, but there's tons of X's and O's there. And I just thought that was cute, cute, cute. So this is genuine ephemera. It's darn near 100 years old. and I bought this at an auction. So we'll tuck that in the front there. The other thing I have is this is a stamp. Now it's not super old. It's about 20 years old, and it is a Canadian stamp, but the engraving around it is gorgeous. The color is gorgeous, and it says peace and love. So I did not, I mean, this is gummed. I mean, it could be used as a stamp, but I didn't want to put it in the book. I'm going to just tuck it into this CD envelope, and then you can put it where you like. Okay. Lastly, I've got some vintage stamps. So these are quite old. So there's a special delivery. These ones are special delivery. That one's I have a purple, a yellow, and a blue. And this one says, "The ability to write, a root of democracy." And this one says, "A public that reads, a root of democracy." Here's a U.S. mail. This is the 100th anniversary of mail order, something we've all enjoyed these last couple months. And this one says, "First automated post office in the United States." So I'm just going to tuck this in this little glassine bag that my Crafty Crush made for me. And we'll pop that in there too. So everything's going to be at the front. Okay. I made this belly band out of some stamps and put this little collage here of this is dictionary page, and I masked the word and then inked over it, and the highlighted word there is book. Fussy cut a little picture of books, some lace, and I tucked in this image of a girl reading that I've put on cardstock and sewn around. This I might need to bring a little closer. So this is another vintage stamp, and it says it's from 1974, and it has a book and a scroll and ink and a quill. So I've just put that on a piece of linen and stitched around it. This is original book page, but I layered on some tissue paper so that you had a place to write. This is some tea-dyed paper that I dried with plastic lace on it, so that's why it has this lacy look, and fussy cut this picture of books. This is from a vintage memo book. Here's a Victorian font. I think the other page will tell me what it's called. Here I made another little collage, and it has a stamp and some pieces of book page. Actually, this was from a music book, and a dictionary. This little book was made using the cover of a stamp album, and I layered on a stamp and some cheesecloth and sewn in some tea-dyed papers for a little booklet. This this page came. Oh, this book page is about the etiquette of letter writing. You know, how you would address his lordship. So this is from a book about calligraphy. Here's an envelope that I made a little envelope out of security envelopes. Made a little collage here, and this is a German vocabulary card, and it says mail. It's about mail. And inside the envelope well, I've put on this little image I fussy cut out of a children's book. This one, it says the story begins, and on the back it has butterflies. So if you want the butterflies to show in the window, and it has the letters lined up there. This is a little thank you card that can open up for lots of journaling space, but it has a quill pen and an envelope, as you see. And again, I made another little journaling card of a painting of a girl reading in a hammock, and did a little stenciling on the back of that, and it just tucks in there. Oh, here's some more of that calligraphy book, and I just made this little collage there. It says lettergram, and yeah, this is from an old postcard. It's postmarked 1974, and I had another page of this same paper that I used for the end papers, and on the inside it has little dandelion seeds blowing. So I've tucked that in there so you can use that for writing. And well, it didn't have a title for this. It just says category of rustic. Another tuck spot. Made this little card using some vintage Denison stickers. This is a tag I made using book page that I've adhered extra paper to, and even for the reinforcement, that's a red stamp that I just punched. And on the front, it's a postmark from 1930. And did a little stamping, a little sewing, a little collaging. You can write on the back. And this little letter here, it was cut from a book and adhered to paper and sewn around. Lots of sewing. One of my favorite things to do. Some more book page. Here's another one of those first day of issue from 1974. And that shows, what does that show? Caribou Stage. So the mail would be delivered there. And another security envelope tag that I collaged on this fussy cut. Did a little sewing. A bit of scrap of an airmail envelope. Here I did another heart. This time Post is the word, and actually it's about Emily Post, who wrote about etiquette. This little fussy cut of an ink pad, and here's a little envelope that I made out of a window envelope. So you can see through both sides, and I have made this little flip out that you can write some lists on or do some hidden journaling. Now it's so far away from me, I don't know if I'll be able to get it in. The older I get, the closer I need to have things. A little tuck spot here that I made. This was, I think that's a Tim Holtz, but this was fussy cut from a book. This is a journaling card that I made. Another fussy cut. Here's another stamp. This one says Letters Mingle Souls, and it has a image of a lady writing, and again this is layered on linen and stitched around. Here's another font. A little collage tuck spot that I made here, and this is a drawing of a library. Here is a airmail envelope, and inside I have a vintage flashcard that says story. On the back it says them. And I just put this fussy cut here to decorate it up. This is a little envelope that I made using a tea-dyed security envelope. And I just did a little collage here. There's several different security envelopes there. I think there's 4 different ones there. But the back is plain, so it can be written on. This is vintage seam binding. This is a flashcard that I made. And it has a decoupaged napkin on it, as well as genuine stamp, and this is from a vintage magazine. There's a special delivery stamp there, and the word is post. This is a fussy cut of a pencil. I have no idea where I got these giant paper clips, but I included them. So that flips out. And here is a little booklet that I made out of airmail envelopes. And I added stamps and did some rubber stamping, and it flips out. And inside each envelope is a little, this one has typewriters on it. I think these ones are plain. Yeah, that's plain. And this one has a tag in it. That's Tim Holtz, has stamps on it. Oh, I should show you the front. So those are the big old stamps. Clip that back in there. Whoops. Here's another little envelope that I made out of a tea-dyed security envelope, and I just put this little image of a girl reading a book inside. Here's another tag that I made of a study or a library. Here, this is a German word vocabulary card for pen, or sorry, it's French for pen. And I made another tag. This is cut from a postcard. It's from 1965. This is another Victorian font. This page is actually from a vintage stamp album. And inside this airmail envelope, these are bookmarks. So this one is from a bookstore in Montreal. Is it? Yeah, Montreal. And this one is from another bookstore in Montreal. This one I put on some tea-dyed paper, so you could use it for, it wasn't that interesting, so you could use it for little journaling. But I thought the other side of this one was interesting. And here's a little fussy cut of some office supplies. And here, another one of those big paper clips, and another image of a lady reading. Another Victorian font. Little fussy cut of some kids. Here's a little collage that has office supplies pictured in there. Some lace and stuff. Man in his study. Another vintage, and I hope you can see how vintage it is. It's really yellowed. And here I made this little journaling place. This is from a ledger book, and so I made this little folder. You could tuck things into these little spots, and this is where these holes are where the ledger, these are the divider pages, got put into the big book itself. So that pops in there. Another fussy cut. This is from a vintage stamp album, and it actually has a real stamp there. And I could have taken it out. It had a like a hinge on it, but I thought, oh, let's leave that. So I just glued it down. Some fussy cut books. Here's a little die cut typewriter, and this heart has a rubber stamped typewriter on it, and I just highlighted the word letter. And here's another stamp that I sewed onto a piece of linen, and a little journal card goes in there. So lots of goodies. If you're seeing this video, this journal has been listed on my Etsy. I hope you enjoyed seeing this and this video, and maybe it gave you some ideas for your own journals. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.